So I'm looking at an article on CNN this morning. Sides. And it says hurricane victims should be Trump's wake-up call on climate change. Okay, so it talks about being extra bad. It talks about the wildfires in California. Now, it seems to me that, say, 2 years ago, if you were to say to yourself, which party, the Democrats or the Republicans, are the ones who are respecting science, especially when it comes to climate science? And I think most people would have said, if they were objective observers, they would say, well, the Democrats are on board with climate science and climate change, on average, and that agrees with the scientists. And so if you're agreeing with the scientific consensus, that makes you compatible with science, whereas the other side is, doubting evolution and doubting climate science and doubting vaccines and that sort of thing. But time goes by, and I'm looking at CNN, and there are reasonable people who believe that they're on the side of science who have concluded, without the benefit of science, that these latest hurricanes and the fires in the West, which are unusual and are record-setting, are evidence, clear evidence of climate change. Now, I want to be really clear about this next point. Those things might, in fact, be exactly what he's saying. They might, in fact, be evidence of climate change. But here's the important point. The scientists have not concluded that. In other words, the people who are the most pro-science, the left, or believe they are, or have branded themselves that way anyway, instead of agreeing with the consensus, they've all just decided that this anecdotal evidence about the hurricanes and the fires would be a reason to leave the consensus, because the scientific consensus on climate change is that these hurricanes and the wildfires and whatever else is happening might be evidence of climate change, but they haven't concluded that. So the people who love science have just left their own camp, whereas the Republicans, the ones who have been maligned for not being compatible with science, are now actually compatible with science because they're saying, well, we can't tell whether these earthquakes are meaningful or not. Science has not concluded that, and science says the same thing. Now, I, like most people watching all this, say to myself, holy cow, these earthquakes might actually mean something. It might actually be a signal for climate change, but science doesn't know that yet. So it's certainly appropriate to be worried. It is not appropriate yet to side with the non-scientists and say it means something, because the scientists don't say that yet.